Hello, this is M for Film, and if you're new to this channel, great, because I am too. We're going to talk about the medium format Moskva 5 made in Russia in the 1950s, which is a foldable medium format. We're going to talk about the camera, and we're going to put it to the test of fitting an everyday carry-on. This bag, my everyday going to work bag. Stay tuned if you're interested in the Moskva 5 or in finding your own camera for everyday photography. Hi, I'm M for Film. I'm a visual anthropologist and an amateur film photographer. On this channel, I hope to bring you a little bit of both worlds, with something more on the light side, like gear, what's in my bag, how to make sure we take photos like almost every day or every day to improve our practice, but also make sure our practice is something that is part of our daily life, but also things that are maybe on the heavier side, but absolutely necessary side. As an anthropologist, I think a lot about representations, visual representations, the limits of the visual medium, what it carries, and how we can make sure that we are ethical in our practice. So how do we represent other people, what our images mean, how we choose our subjects, and things like that. So that side might be more leaning toward books and thinking with anthropologists. That side might be leaning more toward grabbing those cool cameras and seeing if they can actually be put to work on an everyday basis rather than sitting on your shelves. Thank you very much, and let's go! So I wanted to start this series with the Moskva because I found myself really wanting to go back to film photography about a year ago, but in a way that was not just, oh, let me get like a new camera because this camera is going to save my practice from the dark ages it has fallen into. But more thinking, okay, I need a camera to go in a daily bag, to be with me at all times. And I'm kind of like a very medium format kind of girl. And the problem with being a medium format kind of girl is that my go-to camera was an Arax CM, which I'll be happy to look into if you are interested. But the problem with that is that it's kind of a very heavy camera and it hardly gets to be carried around, and certainly not in your everyday bag. So I was looking for an option that would still basically kind of like be my go-to camera in terms of aesthetics. I wanted to make sure that it would be a medium format, but I also wanted it to be lighter than, most of the medium format camera, and basically be able to fit a daily carry-on. I started with a Bronica ETRS, then 2020 happened and I had to sell it. And but that's not the end of the story, because this little guy came through. I got it off eBay for about, at the time, I think $90 or $80. It took a little while to come because I was in the US and it was coming from Ukraine. So, patience is what I'm saying. The Moskva 5 was one of the early production of KM2, which is the factory and company that was producing most of the medium formats that, are popular among film photographers because they are very reliable, I think. You can think of this camera as the cousin of the Voigtlander Bessa, or as a copy, as it's usually put, of the Zeiss Iconta or Iconta, I'm not sure how it's said. You can also think of it as the cousin of the Agfa Isolate. So if you're into those cameras but not really ready for the investment, that might be a way to bypass that. So here it's open, as you can see, and I'm going to start by what puzzled me the most, and I felt kind of ridiculous to say that when I got it, which is I couldn't find a way to close it. You just have to find your way on those two arms right there. So you just put just a little bit of pressure synchronously, on both sides, and here you go. To open, you just press this button, and here you go. Now, the shutter release is located right here. This is your rewind wheel for your film. What's really interesting about this camera is that it has two formats. So if you get it with a mask, which you should check if you're getting it off eBay, if the mask is already inside it, inside the camera you're purchasing, or if you want to buy a separate mask. If you don't have a mask, the default format is going to be this one. That's the 6x9. But you can use a mask and then it's going to be 6x6. You also need to make sure when you change the format that you basically change the format on the window. So this is where your film is going to appear. This is the 6x9. So if you're using 6x9, you should open this window. But yeah, I use the 6x6 most of the time, all the time actually. And so you need to close the window to make sure that your film is not exposed when you take the picture. Now to take a picture, so that's where this camera gets interesting / challenging and complicated. I should add, deliciously challenging and complicated, because that's a camera that I really, really like. So in order, you're going to frame your picture with this frame here. That's why you need to make sure that your frame is set right with a 6x9 or 6x6 option. Once you framed your picture, you're going to want, it's a rangefinder, so you're going to want to make sure it's in focus. And you're going to use this tiny, tiny little window here. It's not even a window, it's really just a tiny pinhole. And you want to make sure as you look into this, that this is up. And so basically, I mean, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to show you here, but you can see a little bit of light. But this is going to basically align with that pinhole, and you're going to be able to basically evaluate the distance and to put it in focus with the rangefinder. You're going to adjust your focus here, and it's really nice wheel. It works well. It's also a beautiful lens. I don't know if you can see, but I'm really happy with this camera. So this is where you're going to set, your depth of field here. And here is your shutter speed wheel. But that's basically this wheel here. It has, so you're basically going to align it with a tiny red line here. The most you can get out of this camera is 250. So if you are going to take pictures in bright sunlight, this is definitely a camera where you should opt for, maybe a 100 or a lower ISO kind of film. And that's it. That's how you take the picture. And so make sure to put that back, because otherwise you're going to see it in the frame. And then here is your shutter release, your shutter, sorry. So you're going to push it here, and then you're going to release it. And here you are. You're going to open the camera, the back of the camera here, by pushing this while at the same time. So you're basically, I'm going to show you and then do it. You're going to push this up while at the same time you're going to pull this out. So here you go, and then it's going to separate, as you can see. So this is the inside of the camera. As you can see here, I have a 6x6 mask. If I take it out and then change the frame, I would be able to take probably amazing pictures in 6x9, because the camera is going to make those pictures amazing. I'm afraid I would have very little to do about that. And if you buy this camera, you have to absolutely make sure, that's the case for most old medium format camera, secondhand medium format camera, you have to make sure to have an empty spool of 120 medium format film. If you don't have an empty spool, so either ask the seller most of the time those people, you know, the sellers are very well experienced, and you know, they are photographers, film photographers themselves, so they may have a spare spool to send. So either ask them to send a spare spool, either make sure you have some spare pools in your own collections, friends, but that's really, really key. So you're going to turn this around, so to make sure it aligns with the head of a spare spool. And here you go. Now it's set. I'm locking it in, and you know, I'm just going to roll it, and that's perfect. And so here you're going to insert your film. Same thing, you're going to make sure that this is entirely pulled out when you put the film in. I'm not going to show you how to load the film, because that would make this video a little bit long, and since it's my very first video, I want to make sure I don't lose you on the way. But also because there is an excellent video that I watched when I first started, over and over again, which was made by a Film Life vlog, and I'll put a link in the description to make sure you go to that video if you want to know how to load the film. So you're going to close the camera by making sure those two parts align first, so on that side, and close it. So all in all, I really like this camera. It's compact, it's beautiful, as you could see. I think it's extremely sturdy. It forces you to take your time. So, you know, if you're just starting off and you don't want to be metering your photos, because this is entirely mechanical, no electricity, which means no battery, and that's great, because most of the old cameras' batteries are not sold anymore. So this is a camera that will last you forever. And I mean, imagine, this is already, what, 70 years old. And, you know, this is the camera that you will be able to give your tiny little nieces and nephews when you're done with it, or when you're done with life. So let's see now if this could be, you know, my go-to day-to-day camera by trying it with this bag, which is my work bag, but like more like on the fancy side. I mean, this is as fancy, and this is the most effort, like the highest level of effort I'm going to put for a meeting, or, you know, a day full of like kind of like seeing clients and everything, because yeah, I want to fit the corporate scene, but yet not that much. So this is as, you know, as soft or toned down as it will get. I absolutely love this bag. It's very sturdy. I've had it for years. It's made by a local company here in Cambodia. It's called Camerapedia. They make bags out of recycled materials, and they're really great. But let's see if the Moskva could fit my lifestyle, which I understand is going to sound extremely superficial to some. But to me, it's actually essential, because we all have that perfect photography bag in our, you know, wardrobe or house. But that's only when we do decide to go on photography walks or a day out with friends to go take pictures that we do take that bag. So for me, fitting the camera to the bag is actually not that superficial, because that's going to ensure not only that you have style, but more importantly, that you're going to have a camera every day in your bag. And that is going to increase your chances of making better pictures, because you are going to take more pictures. Not only, you know, the next weekend, or in 3 weeks from now, or on a special sunny day, a special snow day, a special even day. It's just going to fit your everyday life. So here it is. I have an iPad, which, you know, because I want to be also chic, is in this little pouch that is also assorted and made by this material. Then I have probably a few documents that I want to carry around. It tells you how I feel about work too. Pens, I have a thing for fountain pens. Yes, don't mock me. Planner. And so that little pouch doesn't need to be open, but it's absolutely essential. I always have it in my bag. It's basically, you know, the essentials: tissues, hand sanitizer, headache pills, because, you know, that happens when you meet people, right? What else? A little bit of tiger balm. I don't know how that resonates, you know, for people who don't live in Southeast Asia. Oh, and also a very bold red lipstick, because if you think that wearing a mask is going to stop me from wearing beautiful shades on my lips, then you got me very, very wrong. Earbuds, wallet, sunglasses, keys. So here we are. Now let's see how I can arrange this for the Moskva. And it works out perfectly. At the end of the day, this may not be my everyday camera because it lacks a little bit in spontaneity, and mainly also it gets heavy if you walk, if you commute basically with anything that is not your own car. So that said, it's a camera that I absolutely love. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to get into a medium format, fully manual camera, folding camera. It's really great. It's still very compact for a medium format camera. But what that means is that I have yet to find my everyday camera. So I'm going to do just that and make videos as I go along, and I hope you'll stay tuned. Subscribe if you like this video and if you want to embark on this journey. I mean, how adventurous does that sound? It was great to, I guess, not meet you, but imagine you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day and take beautiful pictures, and see you around. Bye.